Hey everybody, this time around I am going to show you what I have in my collection vinyl-wise from 1987. Metal at its peak in the 80s, around the sort of mid to late 80s, that's for sure. Thrash metal is established itself as the main genre, I would say, or certainly in my collection. Traditional heavy metal, there's still a good amount of bands out there, and obviously the whole hair glam metal movement, whatever you want to call it, is starting to take stock as well. Not too much of that in my collection. So what you're about to see, if you are familiar with this series, is EPs, mini albums, LPs that I have in my collection that were originally released in 1987. It's mostly OGs, but there are a few reissues chucked in as well. A few doubles in there too from albums that I particularly like. There may be an OG and a reissue, or just a reissue. And about 60 albums in total. So there's three boxes that I'm going to go through. Hope you enjoy it. As always, let me know in the comments your thoughts on 1987, your thoughts on my collection, and of course any mistakes that I make. And I've made a few during this series, but I don't mind if you call them out. It helps me make sure that I've got my cataloguing system correct. Let's turn the camera around as I normally do and flip through. I hope you enjoy it. So, starting off with Aerosmith Permanent Vacation. So Aerosmith, I was really kind of introduced to them by the whole Run DMC collaboration. So this was really the first Aerosmith album that I picked up. I was aware of them before, but you know, they really got some good commercial success with this one, and I was sucked in. And it's a fantastic album. Still love it a lot. Another album that I love, Anthrax, Among the Living. A lot of people's favourite Anthrax album, and I can't really argue with that one, but it's not mine. Apocrypha, the Forgotten Souls. This is a bit of a shred fest, but in a proper band setting with what's his name, Tony Fridianelli on guitar, who likes to noodle a bit, but decent album. Armored Saint, Raising Fear. Again, great album. Armored Saint, pretty underrated if you ask me. Artillery's second album, Terror Squad. This is a Back on Black reissue. Atomcraft, Conductors of Noise, kind of UK proto thrash. Again, Back on Black reissue. Bad News, or you can put it that way, I guess, because it's a gatefold, and the gatefold folds over to this delightful image on the back. It's a UK comedy group, comedy as in comedy actor group that also did a comedy documentary, but like their own version of Spinal Tap, which was pretty funny. The Cult, Electric, more sort of alternative rock metal, if you will, but fantastic album. This is not a fantastic album. This is Dark Star, Real to Real. Yeah, it's I'm struggling to actually remember exactly what it sounds like now, but I know I didn't like it. It's a bit AOR-y, I think, more sort of hard rock than metal, but still not one that I particularly rush out and play anytime often. There's a lot of classic thrash metal album in 1987. It's when thrash was really, really getting going big time. So we have Death Angel, the Ultra Violence, Under One Flag OG. Dio, Dream Evil. Yeah, Dio could do no wrong in the 80s. Dokken, Back for the Attack. I might have mentioned this previously. I'm not that big on Dokken. I would struggle to tell you which of these were my favourite tunes. The only one I'm really aware of is Dream Warriors, and I knew that from the Nightmare on Elm Street movie when it came out at the time. EXE, Stricken by Might. This is kind of almost sort of thrash metal as well. I love the pictures of these guys here. I mean, full on metal. This is quite interesting. If you've got this album, make sure you read the back cover here. It's also got some critique of famous kids' nursery rhymes. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse run up the clock. How can a mouse run up a clock? He should be a spider. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all, but it's interesting to pick out things like that on album covers. I think so, at least. Exodus, Pleasures of the Flesh, on Music for Nations. Now here we go. So I showed this one in my 1988 video. I got a bit carried away when I pulled out GNR Live. I grabbed all the GNR stuff and showed that in 88. So I'm showing it again because it is still one of my favourite albums of all time. That was the this is kind of that's all going wrong. An OG from the 80s, but that was the redone cover after the band cover. And I also have the recent 30th anniversary reissue, which sounds absolutely superb. What else do we have here? Heathen, Breaking the Silence. Hellion, Screams in the Night. Anne Boleyn on vocals. Pretty decent album, that. Underrated band, but they didn't really do a lot to get rated highly, to be honest. Another classic, Halloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. An album that needs no introduction amongst you metalheads. Holy Terror, Terror and Submission. Fantastic US thrash metal from what formerly Agent Steel's what is his name? Also Kurt Kilfelt on guitar. Great thrash metal, that one. Intrinsic, this is an album I picked up in a record store in Boston, of all places. $7.99. This is a good sort of metal, speed metal band. I always think it's thrash till I put it on. It's not a thrash metal album at all, but it is a great album. I'm glad I got that one in the collection. And the last from this box, Priest Live. Probably controversially, Priest Live is my favourite live album from Priest. This is the era I first really got into Priest. And I know it's got all the turbo stuff on it, but live they sound absolutely superb. Probably better on here than on the studio album. Kane Roberts, self-titled. It's not as bad as it looks, but I have to admit I bought this one for the looks. As soon as I saw there was a heavy metal album with this cover, I had to have it. I had no idea that was actually Kane Roberts either at the time, but it obviously is. I think he was once Alice Cooper's guitarist, if I recall correctly. It's an okay album. It's not fantastic by any means. Lizzie Borden, Terror Rising, probably the least favourite Lizzie Borden. It's not even an album, really. There are some EPs in this set from 87. It's just kind of a mixture of redone and live tracks, if I remember. What do we have next? Mars, Project Driver, McAlpine, Aldridge, Rock and Sarzo. A bit of a supergroup. Pretty decent album, this one, if you've not heard it. Obviously, with McAlpine in it, you're going to get a little bit of excessive noodling. Magnum, Mirador, great Rodney Matthews cover here. This is a compilation of earlier tracks from the first 3 or 4 albums, I guess. Man of War, Fighting the World. In the only way that Man of War can. Death to False Metal. Perhaps my least favourite era and album from Michael Schenker, the Macaulay Schenker Group. It's of his time, though. It's just a bit too melodic for my taste, but there's some good stuff on here, and I do like Rob Macaulay's voice. Metallica, the $5.98 EP, Garage Day. So this is the first thing Metallica released after I became aware of them. And this is my original copy from back then. It's the UK copy. I mentioned this in my rant video the other week. 4-track EP for the UK market, and the track order is slightly different from the US, which has 5 tracks on it. Oh dear, it's as bad as it looks. This is Michael Furlong, who actually sounds, his solo album Breakaway, he sounds fantastic in, I think it's Wild Dogs. But this is just AOR pap to the extreme. I've had this on eBay for some time, and there's no biters, and to be honest with you, I can't blame them. Motley Crue, girls. I did actually buy it for £1 in a record fair at a time when you could still buy records for £1. It's probably the least favourite Motley Crue album that I own. I only own the first 4, so yeah, there we go. This is where I fell off. I fell off with the song Girls. Bought the picture disc 12-inch of that, and it just didn't really do anything for me. Nuclear Assault, The Play. This is more of a mini LP EP as well. Great album though. I used to stare at this one in the record shops when I was about 15, and I always wanted to buy it. I wanted to get into Ozzy. I wasn't into Ozzy, didn't know too much about it, and I thought this would be a great way to get in, but it was always too expensive at the time, and one that I've picked up in more recent years. Obviously the tribute album for Randy Rhoads, released by Ozzy. What do we have next? Overkill, their mini LP as well. Another Overkill. So this one comes out of the Atlantic Years box that I showed recently, did an unboxing video for. But obviously this individual one itself, although a reissue, was originally released in 1987. Paradox, Product of Imagination. This album is absolutely superb. If you're familiar with Jürgen Ommann's channel, he will tell you that this is better than Master for Puppets. While I don't agree with that one, it's up there, definitely. It's an unsung hero of thrash metal, and this is a German thrash metal band. Rage, Execution Guaranteed. Raven, Life's a Bitch, Then You Die. Sacrilege, this is really pretty decent actually, decent UK thrash metal within the Prophecy, female fronted. An album that I was totally unaware of until I started watching VC videos. But once I heard it, it has easily become one of my top 10, top 5 even, dare I say, albums of all time. I absolutely love this album. I can't sing its praises highly enough. Warrell Dane just sounds superb on it, and nothing else they did came close. Although the next couple of albums are good, and I have those and I like them. But when I think of Sanctuary, I think of Refuge Denied, and this is the music on vinyl, red vinyl, I think, reissue that came out a couple of years ago. Shock Paris, Steel and Starlight. This is an excellent album as well. This is not illegal records. Great straight up heavy metal. Suicidal Tendencies, Join the Army, the album where they changed from more of a sort of a hardcore skater punk outfit to more of a thrash metal outfit, but it is very much of their own style. Very good album. Tank, self-titled. Straight up heavy metal. Testament, The Legacy, probably one of the best thrash metal debut albums of all time. But my introduction to Testament, and I've had this since '87 as well, that's the original Live at Eindhoven EP that came out. There is a reissue of this that's come out with twice as many songs on it, and to my mind it doesn't sound as good, it's a lot quieter. But this, I don't know if this was released in the US originally, but we have Over the Wall, Burnt Offerings, Do or Die, Apocalyptic City, and Reign of Terror. And yeah, so this was the first time I'd heard Testament, and it was live, and it was just, I thought it was fantastic. From sort of one end of the metal spectrum to the other, this is Tiger Tails, Young and Crazy. Tiger Tails are actually from my hometown growing up of Cardiff. And, you know, they sound like they look. They were one of the few UK sort of glam metal bands that actually got on a decent label. Tony McAlpine, mentioned him early in the Mars project. This is Maximum Security. This is an instrumental album, and it is all noodling and sort of classical music done on a guitar. Not something I really play much, to be honest with you. It's not a type of music that I particularly gravitate towards these days, but that's my original copy from '87 as well. Twisted Sister, Love is for Suckers. I know this was supposed to be allegedly a Dee Snider solo album that was made to be a Twisted Sister album, but this is kind of where I fell off. This doesn't come out and play. I really just got this for completism, to be honest with you. I can't even remember what a lot of these songs sound like, to be honest with you. I'll leave that one out and give it a spin, though. Give it a chance. Udo, Animal House, a recent addition to the collection. And last, we have, in fact, it's not last actually, there is going to be another box after this. Erg Police. Now, this is Japanese metal, so this is Erg, and I think the album's called Erg Police. It's a bit strange. The lyrics are totally strange and largely inappropriate in some places, but it's one of those ones where it popped up on Discogs, and I thought I've got to have it just for that cover alone. A couple of various artist comps coming up. This is Californian Metal. It's a whole load of Christian metal, US Christian metal bands. The Bailey Brothers, The Vinyl Frontier. They tried to take off the Bailey Brothers here, but it didn't really work. I don't think I've ever met anybody who thought they were a great double act, DJ double act. And this is an album of bands you've probably never heard of. Cougar, Voyager UK, The Alliance, Lars, Eric Matson, and Faithful Breath. Never heard of any of those, to be honest. Decent thrash metal album, this. Vendetta, Go and Live, Stay and Die. I'd love to find their other album that they produced, because this is a killer album. Got those VCLT from Greg the Egg, actually. Vow Wow, originally called Bow Wow, changed their name to Vow Wow when they came over from Japan to try and conquer the West. This is a pretty decent album. I do like Vow Wow and that Japanese metal sound. They also released Vow Wow Live. Got this one as VCLT from Mark G with a C, so that was nice of him. And last few. Warlock, Triumph and Agony, a absolutely fantastic album. I do love this one, probably my favourite Warlock album. Not their heaviest, their earlier albums are certainly heavy, it's very melodic, but there's just something about this, you know, it's got All We Are, I Rule the Ruins, Eats Meets West, Cold Cold World, and Furimmer. How can you not like Furimmer? shivers down my spine when I hear that one. Wasp, Live in the Raw. Whether you think this is a true live album or just a load of overdubs, I don't care. I love it. Absolutely fantastic track listing. And it's Wasp at their raunchiest, shall we say. And last one, and dare I say least, White Lion, Pride. Not a band I can get on with at all, to be honest with you. And I think this is one that's going to make its way out of my collection this year to make space. I just find more and more reasons why not to like this one every time I play it. So, shame that we're finishing on a low. Certainly from my point of view, I know a lot of people do love this album, but that's my 1987 vinyl collection done and dusted. As always, thanks for watching. As always, leave me a comment. Let me know what your favourite albums are from 1987. Let me know which glaring omissions that you think there are from my collection, and also any mistakes that I might have made throughout. This has been a good exercise for me to actually correct some of my record cataloguing when I've pulled in things I perhaps shouldn't have, or I've missed catalogued something. So thanks again. See you soon with the next year in the collection. Bye.